got a really varied Chamber Live event today. In a bit, we'll hear from one of our trade partners, Consultix. We've also got a speaker lined up from TFGM to come and talk to us about the Clean Air Plan consultation, which has just started. And we've also got Andrew and Liz from our Property and Construction Group as well. They're just going to give us a quick overview as to what's happening within that sector, and gives us a chance to have a chat around what may happen and what they see happening over the coming months in one of Greater Manchester's most important sectors, and one that does create an awful lot of growth for the economy and creates a lot of job opportunities too. So we'll have Anne on at the end. So first of all, what I'd like to do is just hand over to Amy Swendels from our trade team, who will handle our first section on today's Chamber Live. Amy, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. Morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm delighted to be joined by our partner Consultix today, based in Cyprus and the Middle East as well. So we've got Nicoletta Costa on the line, who is Head of Operations. They've launched an exciting platform, obviously given the recent times, to help connect our members with support in the Middle East and research. So Nicoletta is just going to give us a bit of a demonstration to the platform, which is currently an exclusive offer for members to sign up to for free. So hand over to you, Nicoletta. I believe you can share your screen.
Yes, thank you, Amy. It's nice to be part of this live. I will share my screen so you can actually see. Just let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, all right. So basically, yes, this is a very exciting platform that we have created. It's the Consultix Middle East platform. Due to the circumstances in the last months, we have managed to digitize our diversification process to the Middle East. So what is this platform about? This platform is to connecting the best and most impactful businesses from around the globe with businesses residing in the Middle East. This platform, it's basically for any kind of business, any industry, any size, with any background, with any country of origin. It doesn't matter where you're located, what you do. You can register on this platform, and you can get any benefits through targeted and exclusive appraisals to support each individual business's vision. So this registration is free for all the chamber members, so they can access information from the Middle East region for free. The process is very easy. You register, as you can see here, you register, you answer an in-depth brief, so we can evaluate through an automated system with an algorithm your answers to manage the eligibility of your businesses. Then, if you're eligible, we conduct a virtual call to discuss through a seamless process all the answers. And if you are indeed eligible and we can connect you with businesses in the Middle East, we can unlock the packages for subscription, and you can get the benefits of the lead generation, which is initiated. The process is very simple. It's just 4 steps for registration, and it's free for all chamber members, as I said. Let me move this here. So basically, you come to the Consultix.co Middle East platform registration, and you basically read through to understand what this is about. You read the user agreement and the terms and conditions, because it's very important for you to agree with this in order to register. And once you read, you understand the usage of the platform, which was just a click next, and you come to the registration here. So you answer just a few questions in order to have your company's information, where they will be validated. Like the type of business you are, what describes the sector that describes your business, as you can see from my screen. what are the benefits you can get from this? The benefit is that you are in a pool of several thousand of leads from the Middle East that can be matched with your company if you are eligible to do a cross-border diversification to the Middle East. You minimize the time, the effort, and the money required to connect with the Middle East. Why? Because everything is digitized. You will not need the traveling locally to actually meet with partners. The partners are there, and they are waiting to explore business engagements with businesses from across the globe. So we have two sides of the world trying to connect with the same needs. You have authentic leads from across the Middle East regions defined by Consultix. Consultix has partners locally with authentic leads that are waiting to match businesses with the criteria that pass. You have also free access to the award-winning intelligence tool, which every time any business that is registered, which is, as we said, it's free, you are given the opportunity to use a market and competitive intelligence tool, which, what does it do? It converts unstructured data from the Middle East region into usable information and actionable insights for you. And that's totally free with your registration. Your business is evaluated by Consultix after I need to do the process to complete this in order to enter the contact information. I'm just going to show you how the screen looks like. Basically, you put the information of a person to be in contact, and the whole process is the free registration. Your company is evaluated and it's contacted by the team in order to enable the brief form, which is an in-depth questionnaire, so we can evaluate and assess your business if it's eligible to go to the Middle East. If it's eligible, we have the virtual call, and it proceeds to unlock the offerings, which provide the subscription options, and it embraces a money-back guarantee of leads that match your business. And basically, as we said, why register? It's because we take your business, and through targeted and exclusive appraisal, based on your vision statement, we match you with businesses that are seeking business engagements with from the Middle East, with business from around the globe. And basically, this is the process. I don't know if you have any questions. Unless you want to have questions answered in the end. I don't know how this...
Yeah, thanks, Nicoletta. I think that's a great demonstration. I think Sharon's got a question. She's just saying, is there any, I know you mentioned it was open to all businesses. Is there any specific sectors that the tool suits best?
No, the leads are in various industries. It's just, as I said, based on what is required by your company to diversify in the middle, whether it's a service, it's a product. We, with our partners, match based on eligibility and after the evaluation, and if it's possible for and the specific company can and has the means to go and diversify to the Middle East, or the other way around, if the companies that are in the Middle East can match with the specific company, with the partners we have there, we match them. As I said, it doesn't matter the industry or the sector or the size of the business. Our partners there initiate and produce leads based on what is required by any company that is registered and is eligible.
Perfect, thank you. I think it's great as well because some of our members are now apprehensive about registering on platforms, but to understand that you've got the verification process and that you're virtually speaking with the companies will hopefully will give some of our members a bit of confidence that they're going to be connected with vetted companies in the region. Are you able to give us any details about companies that have signed up so far? You know, in the Middle East, somebody's got asking that question.
I think we have companies that I think from industries. You mean from the Middle East registered on the company seeking cross-border to match with the global businesses? This is what you mean?
Yeah, just companies in general that have registered on the platform.
Oh yes, we have from education, we have from construction. I don't want to name actual businesses, but we have in different industries. We have services so far. So and I want to something that I forgot to mention. It's fully GDPR integrated, and I wanted to make sure that the people and the companies understand it's the safety and the confidentiality of this platform. So it's secure and based on the regulations of the GDPR.
Perfect, thank you. I think we're just about there with time. So Chris, I'll hand back over to you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I will. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, thanks, Amy, and thanks, Nicoletta, for that. And there is a link that Amy's put up in the chat box as well to take you through to that service as well. I think it's good for for a number of these events now over the last couple of months. We've given you a real insight into some of the breadth of exposure that our trade team and people that they work with, as well as in partnership as well, covering all areas of the globe really. So it's great to hear from Nicoletta and see as well some of this stuff actually in practice as well that is available, and again free to GM Chamber members. So thank you both for that. I'd like now to introduce our second speaker, our second guest this morning, and it's Megan Black from Transport for Greater Manchester, and we're going to talk about the Clean Air Plan consultation, which started last week, and in amongst everything else going on at the present moment in time, one of the real dangers, I suppose, is that people may not have seen it or registered it, or it could get overlooked. Megan, do you just want to introduce yourself first of all, and what your job role is at TFGM, and then we'll get into a little bit more on what the consultation is actually about.
Yeah, so morning everybody. My name's Megan Black. I'm the interim head of logistics and environment at Transport for Greater Manchester, and part of my role is about sponsoring the development of the Greater Manchester Clean Air Plan. So on behalf of the 10 Greater Manchester authorities, TFGM are coordinating the development of the plan across the region to achieve compliance with nitrogen dioxide standards on the local road network.
Okay, and again, the consultation was launched, or the latest round of the consultation, because this has been around for probably 18 months, couple of years, hasn't it, really? The latest round of consultation, the final round of consultation, was launched last Thursday. Can you just give us a brief overview? I mean, there's quite a lot in it, but obviously bearing in mind we've got a business audience here today, Megan, what is actually in it, and what is the consultation about, really? And also, why should businesses get involved?
Okay, as you say, Chris, we've been developing the plan for some time. Last year we had a conversation about the proposals in the plan, but now we are directed, or the Greater Manchester authorities are directed by government to introduce a clean air zone, and that's a category C zone. So that means that non-compliant buses, coaches, taxis, private hire, heavy goods vehicles, vans and minibuses would need to pay a daily charge to drive in the zone. And we expect that zone to launch in spring of 2022. So the consultation isn't about whether we should introduce the zone or not. The consultation is about the key elements of the plan. So it's about the boundary, the daily charges, and the discounts and exemptions that are proposed. And it's also a consultation on the funding packages that are there to support impacted groups. And that's why it's really important to talk to you and your members today, because if you're if businesses are driving one of those vehicles that I've identified, or sorry, own one of those vehicles that I've identified, and it's not compliant, then it potentially, is going to be caught in the zone in 2022. So there is an offer on the table of money to help people upgrade to cleaner vehicles.
And it is only, just for the sake of clarity, number one, there is no private vehicles going to be included in this, and also it's just for vehicles that aren't exempt, that are exempt. Sorry, what are those sort of dividing lines between a vehicle that may have to pay and a vehicle that may not? And again, I know there's probably a great big long list, but
yeah.
just as an example.
Yeah, as you say, private cars and motorcycles aren't included in Greater Manchester's plans. And as you say, it's all about compliance, whether a vehicle is compliant or not. And that's to do with the Euro rating of the vehicle that is given at the time of registration. So one of the things I'll do is I'll put in the chat bar the fact that we've got a vehicle checker, so people can go online and have a look and see whether their vehicle would be potentially compliant or not with the plans that Greater Manchester have got.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's really useful. And again, being involved in this for some time now, one of the things that is, still creating a little bit of confusion for businesses is, is my vehicle going to be...
Is my vehicle compliant or not? And am I going to have to pay the daily charge that's proposed? Exactly. Yeah.
But those are the two things. And obviously that means the most. Just looking at it, because I know obviously when this first came out, there was a funding package that was going to go with that. What sort of things could businesses, if that funding package is in place, what sort of things could business use that for?
So Greater Manchester has already received £41 million worth of funding to help people upgrade to compliant vehicles, and that's what we're consulting on now, those packages. So for example, if you're talking about a van, then the proposal on the table is that we could offer up to £3,500 to help upgrade that vehicle to a compliant one. And so one of the things that the consultation is setting out is just the eligibility criteria for that money, in terms of the number of vehicles that people will be able to apply for, what type of businesses we are looking to support with that funding. So Greater Manchester is really clear that it wants to help smaller businesses, sole traders upgrade, because those are the people that they think will particularly need financial support. But we want to hear from all businesses about what they think about those proposals, because if it's not quite right, this is our opportunity to shape the final plan and the final ask to government to help support Greater Manchester to deliver this plan.
So important that final bit there, it's still, there's still elements of this still can be changed, really. I think that's crucial. And just one other thing, Megan, I mean, again, some people think, oh, it's just Greater Manchester doing their own thing again. There are other city regions in the UK having to do this, aren't they? It is a sort of governmental drive that's behind this. What's happening, for example, in some of the other areas? Are they in front of us or behind? Or
so different authorities have been brought into the process at different stages. I think people will probably be familiar with what's happening in Birmingham, because they've been talking about a clean air zone for quite a period of time now, and they announced on Thursday of last week, when we started our consultation, that their clean air zone would be going live in June of next year. And there was another authority, and I'm trying to think of it madly off the top of my head, I think it was Bath, that also announced that their clean air zone was going to go live a little bit earlier than that. I can see somebody's put in the chat bar of when will this be going live. So we anticipate that the clean air zone in Greater Manchester would launch in spring of 2022. Obviously the exact timing of that to be confirmed, and we're also setting out in the consultation that we expect that the clean air zone would be in place until at least the second half of 2026, because this is about achieving compliance with nitrogen dioxide standards and the exceedances that are at the roadside. And we have to not only show that we have complied, but that we've also maintained compliance, and that's why it would be in for that period of time.
Okay, there's another question in there from Sonia about, she said, how much real consultation will there be on the daily fees, or have these already been established?
So I think you mentioned, Chris, that this has been ongoing for a while, and we had a conversation last year, and in our conversation last year we did set out what we thought would be the daily charges at that time. Following that conversation and other work that we've done, we've actually revised the daily charges proposals. So this is a real consultation. I can't, you know, just to use your words back, we want to hear from everybody. We really are trying to push this message out and get as many people as possible to reply and tell us what they think about all the different aspects of the plan, so that we can bring that together and put it in front of decision makers, hopefully early next year. I think one of the things we're very conscious of the fact is that COVID-19's come along in the development of the plan. The government's been very clear to Greater Manchester that it wants it to continue with consultation on the plan that was developed pre-COVID. So as part of the consultation, we're asking questions about COVID on the impact of businesses in Greater Manchester. And again, that can all be brought together and be a very rich picture to put in front of decision makers before they make final decisions on the plan.
Okay, that's really useful to know, because I think sometimes people have this idea that everything's already been done and, you know, just go out, ask a few questions or whatever, but it really is up for discussion, isn't it?
It really, absolutely.
In the context of everything that's going on with COVID, of course.
Absolutely, and I think it's probably also just an opportunity, if I can, just to give a bit of a plug for another consultation that's also going on at the same time. So hopefully, again, you're familiar with the fact that Greater Manchester has been pulling together a set of minimum licensing standards for taxi and private hire services, which are designed to make them safer and more customer focused with a sort of a high environmental and accessibility standards. So there are standards around drivers, vehicles, operators and local authorities. Now, given the fact that the Clean Air Plan is going to impact on the taxi trade in terms of the vehicle and the emission standards that they need, and given the fact that the minimum licensing standards is going to impact the taxi trade in terms of the vehicles, in terms of age limits and things like that, both the consultations are happening in parallel to make sure that the trade have got as much information as they need on both sets of proposals and can give full feedback on both. But this isn't just a consultation with the trade about minimum licensing standards, it's with everybody. So, you know, somebody who's involved in the nighttime economy, you know, really should be getting engaged in this, because it will impact your staff potentially if they use taxi trade, as well as your customers. You know, so my sort of thing is, if you've got a taxi app on your phone, you know, and you're calling people to your door to take you on a journey, you really should be filling in this consultation, because, you know, it is about the standards that you are receiving as a customer.
Okay, that's superb. That. Thanks very much, Megan. Just one final thing. Obviously, where can businesses get more information from it? And when does the consultation close?
Right, so both consultations, as I say, are running at the same time. They both close on the 3rd of December 2020 at 23:59, to be precise. I wasn't allowed to say midnight. And more information is available on cleanairgm.com. And there's also a website for the taxi standards as well, which is gmtaxistandards.com. So the other thing to say is that on cleanairgm.com, we're running live chat drop-in sessions for people to ask questions of the team. So for example, there's a chat session today between 2 and 5 o'clock. And we're also running some Q&A sessions as well. So they're either focused at business or taxi, and the next business session is running on Friday. That's this Friday, the 16th of October, between 2 and 3 o'clock. So you can register on there to be sent the link to join it. It's done via Microsoft Teams. So opportunity for a fuller presentation on the detail of the proposals and the opportunity to ask questions as well.
Yeah, that's super. Thanks very much, Megan, for that. I know you must obviously be extremely busy with all sorts of things going on at present, so it's great to hear from you today. And like I said, we'll be publishing those links and getting further involved in this consultation over the next couple of weeks as things may become a little bit clearer with what's happening on the wider economic side of things. But this needs doing, no matter what happens elsewhere. This consultation does need to happen, and as many businesses as possible to feed in their views, I think is absolutely essential for it. So Megan, thank you very much
Thank you for the opportunity to come along and let you know about the consultation. As you say, it's really important everybody has their say on this.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Megan. Thank you for joining us. The other thing from a Chamber's perspective is we also do an awful lot of work looking at things, for example, around electric vehicles as well. In the good old days, i.e. pre-COVID, we had a series of events that we did run with Transport for Greater Manchester, a number of businesses looking at what benefits businesses could get by moving to electric vehicles. And we had all sorts of people, manufacturers and everybody involved in those. And we are trying to look at how we can do something like that in a more sort of virtual setting coming up over the next couple of months, because it is really, really important. I can't stress it enough. You know, if this is something that may affect your business, even if it's something that may not affect your business, please take part in the consultation. It is so important. So our final section today, I'd like to welcome two representatives from our property and construction group to look at how the sector's been going over the last couple of months, and a little bit of feedback and information about what they've been up to, and also what they see coming up ahead. So I'd like to welcome Liz Everett from Red Tree Construction and Andrew Turner from Interserve. Just before we start, Liz, if you can just say a few words about yourself, the company, and what you do.
Okay, morning everybody, and thank you, Chris, for having me here this morning. So Red Tree are a Manchester-based business. We're an SME. We probably this year are going to turn over about 10 million. Obviously, that was down last year because of COVID. That actually fell into our financial year last year, so we're kind of writing that off. We're contractor, so we do any works, refurb, new build, fit out, up to around £5 million. So Manchester born and bred, we work in the Northwest, privately owned, yes, and still here, which is positive.
Is the main thing. Excellent, thanks, Liz. And Andrew, a little bit about yourself and your role at Interserve.
Morning, everybody. I work for Interserve Construction, based over in our Wigan regional office, but we're part of a network of national offices. We're now privately owned. I've been with the business nearly 8 years, and we do a lot of work in the public sector, about 80% of work in the public sector, and a lot of our work at the moment is in health and education. And picking up what Liz said, very similar story. We've had a difficult year at the start because we had about 8 jobs due to start on site through March, April and May, which all stopped, and those are all coming back on again. But we're in quite a good position for this year going into next year, nationally and regionally, because of the work that we focus on. So yeah, it's be lying if it said it hasn't been difficult. It has. But we're in a good shape, and we're actually looking now to recruit people. So we've not lost anybody through COVID. We had to furlough people who were due to start on site, who had no sites to go to, and that's now stopped. Now we've got all those people back. So yeah, I'll be lying if I say it wasn't tough. It's been really tough for everybody, but we're in good shape.
How much of a shock to the system was it, Andrew, when it all sort of? I mean, did you shut down? And one of the things that's annoyed me throughout all this is this bit about everyone get back to work. Well, there's obviously a lot of businesses that have carried on working right through this. What was the situation? Because obviously there was a big focus, wasn't there, at the start in March, of what was going on construction sites. Did you actually stop and send everyone home, then bring them back in, or did you work going through?
There's 2 parts to our business: the site teams, which obviously they generate the revenue. And all of our live sites were operational throughout. The only part of the business nationally that had to shut down was in Scotland, and some smaller fit-out sites in London because they couldn't adhere to safe working practices. So I can remember the day, it was the 16th of March, we actually made a decision locally to work from home on the 16th of March. So that was earlier than the national recommendations. And that's still the case. So anybody who can work from home is still working from home. So I think I've been in the office 4 days since March. All our sites are fully operational. And what that means is all our site staff are working from site, whether they are commercial or operational. And that's been a plan all the way through. And to answer your question, Chris, the best example was we had to mobilise in the Northwest. We had, I think, 2 days to mobilise to deliver an urgent COVID ward at a hospital in Lancashire. And that was done all the way through. So our staff were live on site. We didn't lose any time. I don't want to tempt fate, but so far we've been okay without having anybody affecting our sites due to COVID. We have heard anecdotally around other parts of the business where sites have been affected because somebody's gone on site who hasn't been tested. No, we're not we're stopping people going in. There are temperature checks on the edge of sites at the boundary and also for offices. So we've been operational, and also we'd led some of the discussions with Department of Education, for example, we've been very cautious, and we put procedures to them nationally, which enabled us to get some of our school sites back onto site and live, because they were just going to shut down completely. And that was based on the experience we had working with the health service, where we had to be very proactive at the start of all this.
Yeah, really good insight there into what's been going on. Liz, from your perspective, have you carried on trading through the last however many months? I lost count now. Is it 7 months or whatever that we've been working through the pandemic? Did it have a major impact on the business, or have you carrying on? I suppose, really.
It's quite interesting because we are completely the opposite end of the spectrum to how Andrew's just described Interserve's approach. So for us as an SME, it's all about business continuity, and we obviously got in touch with our legal team around contracts. So what we actually did was, at the time, 90% of our jobs were in the healthcare sector. We contacted the clients and asked them to specify whether the works were essential or not. Because they said no, they weren't, we actually then pulled off site, and because they had come back to us with that message, that meant our contract would pause rather than be extended. Because what we were looking at was, as we returned to site, whether we would need extensions of time to meet practical completion dates, and therefore, under the contract terms, would we incur loss and expense on those contracts? So we actually had all our clients say, no, you can pull off site until we know how this is going to develop. So we pulled all our sites off due to duty of care, really, to our staff and our supply chain. We had one site at Aintree Hospital which continued because it was an emergency A&E, so the works were essential. And then following that, we've done small, as Andrew said, COVID-related works, which were procured very quickly because they were classed as essential. The procurement rules were relaxed, and therefore we got some of our turnover through that work. And now our contracts from the lockdown have restarted with, if you like, a program date that's moved, a PC date that's moved. So legally, the professionals are saying there's a lot of private sector clients giving extensions of time, but not reimbursing contractors for loss and expenses, which could really hit a contractor's bottom line as the contracts restart if they have in fact stopped. And programs with social distancing measures are also under pressure anyway. Yeah. So for us, it was about building in that resilience to continue. During lockdown, our turnover was down 90%. We used the furlough scheme, we used the government grants, but we always, as a business, have 1 year's working capital in the bank, which without that, we would have been in a very difficult position. So that has allowed us to weather the storm, if you like, and also protect our people. So yes, we all work from home, office based, and now things are very positive. Our turnover for this year is up considerably. So
have you seen any difference? A question to both of you. Obviously, the last few weeks, things have taken a bit of a downward turn from the point of view of spread of the virus, and obviously everything that's mentioned at the start of the event today with the new tiers being introduced. Has that begun to impact in any way, shape or form what you're experiencing in your work? Is it beginning to slow down again, or have you not really noticed it? Is it too early to say? Andrew?
I think what we found is at the start of the lockdown, it was, where is the work going to come from? Because a lot of work that was due to come out to the market stopped. Yeah. We're finding a lot of that is now coming back, and we're actually in a situation where we've got a lot of opportunities coming through the door because we've been very focused. And I suppose we're fortunate in that our strategy nationally is to focus on 80% of public sector work, and in the Northwest that means for us health and education, and they are buoyant. I think what it has done in the last couple of weeks is made sure we have not got lazy, and that we've making sure that we're enforcing the social distancing and the standards we've got on place. And I've just come off a call with our management team, and we know that it only takes one member of staff or supply chain partner who isn't feeling well, but they may be relying on their work. You know, supply chain particularly might be on a day rate, so they think they've got to come to work because they need to pay their mortgage and everything else as well. And it's making sure that we, in the best way, intercept those people if they aren't well, and we stop them going on the site and transferring it to everybody else. So it's really about, let's not get complacent. We feel perhaps because we're working in live COVID environments in hospitals like Liz has been at Aintree, that we've become a little bit sanitized to it, if that's not the right word, I don't know. Yeah, we've become a bit immune to it to a certain extent because it's become normal. And the other thing we have done is we recognized at the start of this, a lot of our supply chain partners were actually very nervous because of what was in the press and what they felt they were doing. And they were concerned about actually working on a live site when they were hearing the industry was basically shutting down. So what we did was we helped them to work through their risk assessments so that they were COVID compliant and they were safe methods of work. So they were working with us. And also we supported them with enhanced payment terms so that we made sure that they weren't going to get disadvantaged if they were going through a tough time with furloughing the staff. So we were in it together. And what that means is we've got a lot of loyalty, and I'm sure Liz has as well with their teams, that, you know, people, we've come through this together, and we've worked very, very closely together. And the other thing we did was in the early stages, we've changed to, where we can, a 2-shift system. Right. Split trades, so that trades who would have been working too closely together, we've come up with methods of work to make sure they're split. And the upside of that was we've actually become more efficient through COVID working than before, which I think was a surprise, but it's actually made us look at how we go to work again and put things into place to make us work smarter. So there's a lot of positives come out of all this. And the best anecdote, it wasn't our region, it was the West Midlands, and we had a bit of it up in Lancashire, is what happens when you have to react to things very quickly. It's amazing how resilient the industry is and what can be done. And delivering the Nightingale in Birmingham, in 10 days was just a phenomenal achievement, like the guys in Manchester did. And how our teams did that down there is just unbelievable. But that shows what the industry can do when people come together and aren't hiding behind contracts or designs not done, or we haven't got supply chain in place. We had 2 days to mobilise for £1 million ward refurbishment that was completed in 6 weeks. And we had no design, we had no cost plan, we had nothing at the start of it. And that was taken on trust with the clients and the design team. So yeah, we've learned a lot, and we've learned a lot of good stuff, and we're lucky that we're not in bad shape. I think if other sectors are struggling, perhaps some of the commercial sector and fit out sector, I know are struggling because that market is in a bit of limbo and it is difficult. But I suppose our strategy was what it was at the start of the year, hasn't changed. We're in the same place in the market as it was. So we're sticking to what we're good at, and sticking to our knitting, as a phrase has been used across our business.
I like that one. Excellent. And Liz, yourself, you've seen any difference over the last couple of weeks of things have been? And again, we heard some great examples there from Andrew of things that have changed, they had to change. I use this phrase quite a bit about enforced innovation. And we're all in a period of enforced innovation. What has that enforced innovation look like from your perspective? And has it made it work better?
It has. And I suppose one of the key positives of Redtree when lockdown happened was everything we do as a business is cloud-based. So straight away, it was absolutely seamless. There was no issue crossing over to working from home, because obviously guys on site, they can access all the documents on tablets, on mobiles. We can work remotely from any location. And I think because that's always been part of Redtree's ethos to be set up that way, it was fantastic. And I can imagine for some of the bigger corporates that weren't ready for that, that has probably been a big challenge. And like I say, you're not talking tens of thousands of workers, but it did demonstrate how technology can assist us lots of video technology, snagging sites so we could keep minimum of site attendees down. Obviously Zoom and other team meetings have helped with travel. So I think there are some good lessons and best practice to take from this. I mean, going back to Megan's piece, we in January took collection of a whole fleet of hybrid vans. Apparently we're one of the few contractors that has that. So I think we're hoping we can go into the clean air zone free of charge, but we'll see what the consultation says. But all of this is great, modular, looking at, we've placed temporary COVID assessment units in primary healthcare centres. The trusts have obviously been doing this as well. So, it has, I suppose, accelerated some of the areas of the market. But yes, we feel we've worked as efficiently during this pandemic.
Okay, that's great. We'll halt those coming up to time on the event today. But Andrew, Liz, thank you very much for sharing some of that. It's always so interesting to see how businesses have been coping over this time, really, and the learnings, the things, and how they're reacting to quite fast-moving events as well, really, it must be said at present. But Andrew, Liz, thank you very much for your time today in that. I'd like to thank our other speakers as well, Nicoletta and also Megan from TFGM as well for sharing their time with us today. I hope you found that of use, of benefit. Like I said, it's just another insight really into some of the stuff that we get up to, and hearing from some of our fantastic members and businesses that we deal with here at Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much for joining us once again.